من داخل أحد الفنادق، حيث تعقد الآن قمة الرؤساء التنفذيين الذي تقيم شركة جلوبال تريد. فإلى
US and Japan, high energy prices, the list goes on. And so I mention this because the creation of the Private Sector U.S. Council on Competitiveness was really a response to that, but a recognition that the private sector needs to really take the leadership role in bringing together stakeholders from all industrial sectors, in our case joining with academic and labor leaders to develop a long-term agenda for how we drive productivity, standard of living, and security. And I know that the Egyptian National Competitiveness Council, our partner, is celebrating its 10th year anniversary. So I think our two councils bilaterally have much to do together, as well as to continue to take leadership roles in the Global Federation of Competitiveness Council. Well, when I look back 30 years and where we are today, the landscape has so fundamentally changed. But the real driver and importance of competitiveness is that it's a very powerful, unifying, systemic framework that enables a nation to really address almost any issue on the economic front, but do so in a way that enables a holistic approach to focusing on the economic underlying parameters of a nation's growth, as well as many of the factors that will determine its future. And in the long run, competitive is not really one nation over another as much as how a country is really treating its future versus its staying in the past, and that's more important than ever. I want to talk a little bit about what we're facing on the global landscape, and we're just seeing, as I said, tremendous, profound change. And the most important thing I want to start out with is to really articulate that the 20th century models of production and services that created tremendous wealth and raised billions of people out of poverty and to have a better, more prosperous life, that model is actually gone now. And we are in a really ever rapidly accelerating transition and grappling with the new realities of this and how this plays out. And actually I'll just give a U.S. context. We're seeing this in our very wild and crazy U.S. presidential election that's underway, where many of the dynamics of global disruption are playing out in the discourse, where you have many citizens who were in the middle class, who've seen that their high-paying, secure manufacturing jobs no longer exist, and a tremendous fear and concern about what is going to be the actual economic path forward. And so there are many who want to go back and subsidize and prop up the past, and then there are others who say we really have to have a new game plan for how to compete and win in the 21st century and provide a standard of living for all our citizens. So the bottom line, of course, is, and this is true for Egypt and this region, that all nations are operating on a tremendously global terrain of competition, but one of great opportunity as well. Because borderless production and global value chains really are accounting for over 80% of global trade. So for any company or enterprise, really has to ask this question: are they competitive, not only in their own market, but how can they compete and enter into these global value chains? Another tremendous change that's very exciting but also causes consternation is that the one-time more scarce ability of nations to produce very high-tech, high-value goods is now widely diffused. And we see that more and more ability to innovate is in the hands of disruptive innovators, not just the tremendously entrenched global enterprises. You couple this to a swelling global labor pool, and every day with IT technology, it's easier to ship work around the globe in bits and bytes. And even China now has a tremendous disadvantage in the cost of labor, and you see more and more production leaving China and going to other parts of the world. So competing on labor and those old-fashioned metrics really is not a road for success. Digital networks, of course, as I've mentioned, are really enabling the world's businesses, supply chains, markets, and jobs to coalesce in a very converging but also a colliding world. So this era presents tremendous opportunities, but a bottom line is that everybody everywhere is competing for everything. And so for products and services markets, for foreign direct investment, and the operations of global business partners, every country has to really ask the question, what am I doing in my country that provides an environment to attract and grow high-value investment, and what is my country doing to enable the citizens to participate and perform high-value work? So competing and growing direct investment and performing high-value work, those are two parameters that everybody in the world really has to deal with and determine what is going to be the competitiveness strategy to do that. And so in the most recent report of the Egyptian National Competitiveness Council, they have really articulated a very powerful national innovation strategy for Egypt that really addresses that priority. The other thing I want to briefly mention, and this is very important again for everybody around the world, but also countries such as Egypt, is that we're living in a tremendous time as human beings because we're in the midst of 4 great scientific revolutions that are converging, colliding. They're very complex, but they're already unleashing the potential to really change our lives in the most positive way. So the digital, the biotechnology, the nanotechnology, and the cognitive revolutions, they're rewriting the rules of production and services in digital code, in genetic code, in atomic code, and now neural code, and in ways that we could not imagine a decade ago. Nanotechnology, the ability to manipulate matter at the subatomic level, is already here, and it will soon reach the $1 trillion market milestone. Nanoassembly of materials, operations, nanofabrication, all of this is here. And I'll just throw out a very important point from history. They ask the question, which nation or which civilization were actually the first to operate at the subatomic level in the area of advanced materials? It's Egypt. Egyptians were the first nanotechnologists when, in pharaonic times, artists developed the ability to actually take from copper cobalt and create the beautiful blue lapis lazuli colors that are still in their pristine condition in many of the pharaonic tombs and architecture that exists today. We've really passed the inflection point in biotechnology. The cost of DNA sequencing has fallen through the floor, and of course biotechnology has tremendous implications for personalized medicine, reducing not only the cost of healthcare, but expanding healthcare around the world. It has huge implications for agriculture, for energy, and advanced materials. But we have a new frontier in biotechnology, and I want to just allude to that because it talks really also about the light and shadows of science and technology, that as many advances we also have to move forward in a way that has some ethical implications as well. Two women scientists actually, and I'm sure that one of these days they will win the Nobel Prize, have been responsible for a whole new technological capability, and that is to modify genes in living cells. We now have new powerful gene editing technologies, molecular scissors, that are being applied to dozens of species with great precision. Microsurgery on genes, just think of that, with the promises of huge advancements of science, treating many different genetic diseases, with millions of people being able to be cured, gene editing in the womb, taking care of genetically inherited problems such as Down syndrome, the list goes on. And while there's great potential for gene editing, it raises so many ethical concerns. Just this January, the U.S. National Academy of Sciences, there was a meeting with scientists from the Chinese Academy. This is very important that the two academies came together to really try to develop an ethical template for how gene editing will proceed. The dark side being, are we going to move into a world in which human augmentation and designer human beings will be created? A range of environmental issues has also arisen with advancements in the scientific frontiers, in nanotechnology, and very importantly in the whole digital issues now around privacy. I think one of the greatest threats that we're facing with all the opportunities that the IT revolution has brought is the whole issue around cybersecurity and cyber attacks. I think, and I can say certainly in the US, and I would say also in Asia and Europe and here, virtually every enterprise has been subjected to major cyber attacks that are not only disruptive, when you think of attacks against critical infrastructures, but also have huge implications for privacy as well. And so we're seeing a real, again, the light and shadows, a conflict between governments who want to protect information and protect their citizens in dealing with cyber attacks, and then the counterflow of privacy and unfettered access to information and data. And again, this debate's underway in the United States, where the US government is having a lot of consternation with Silicon Valley technology leaders who in no way want to collaborate with some of the challenges around cybersecurity. So how that's all going to play out has huge implications for competitiveness as well. The physical world and the virtual world are really converging, and they're doing this through sensors and networks and a data tsunami. We are actually drowning in data because we're connecting people and things on a scale that was once unimaginable. You know, it's au courant to talk about the Internet of Things. Actually, that's kind of passé because it's really the Internet of everything, and it's cutting across every endeavor of human activity, so that some pundits will say that we now live in the fourth dimension of human existence in cyberspace. You look at this big data, this revolution in connectivity, and of course it's impacting, let's take energy, where energy is increasingly being delivered in bits and bytes with the potential to have self-healing grids and to connect our energy sources so that all sources of energy can be delivered to consumers efficiently, at low cost, and again to deliver a lot of value to competitiveness. Mobility, connectivity, social media, all of these things coming together and linking into the other big frontier I want to quickly mention, which is 21st century manufacturing. Not too long ago, people, including myself actually, years ago when I was a government official, we were working on manufacturing, and a Japanese colleague came and said, you know, manufacturing, some people in Japan think it's dirty, dumb, dangerous, and disappearing. But actually, manufacturing today is smart, it's safe, it's sustainable, and it's surging. And we're already seeing this convergence of energy, transformation, and manufacturing coming together with whole new classes of product technologies, flexible electronics, fibers, textiles, tremendous opportunities. We're also seeing, of course, the automation with robots. And again, how does this impact people's jobs? Are people going to be obsolete? You know, this was a concern in the 19th century with the Industrial Revolution. And yet, we're seeing tremendous benefits coming from the...
In the beginning, I would like to thank GTN, Mrs. Nassim Madrami, and Mrs. Ashna Rani for the kind invitation to speak at this very important conference attended by international and local guests. In Egypt, we like sports and we like football, and because football is a team effort. So we don't perform very well in team efforts. So Egypt excels more in individual sports and not excel in football, because in football we need a team who play together according to the game plan, and each team member puts first his team, then his own people. And competitiveness is the same. We have to play as a team, and we're not very good in playing as a team. So here we have so here you have Egypt performance in competitiveness that, as you see, is on the number 10, and we are now number 199 out of 119 out of 144 countries. So it's not something to be particularly proud of. Here you have the 12 pillars of competitiveness that Ashraf was talking about, and we are all talking about. Basic requirements, sub-index, efficiency enhances sub-index, and innovation and sophistication sub-index. And you have on the basic requirements, you have G for factor-driven economies is 40%. On the second, you have 50% of the numbers, and on the last one, you have 10%. On institutions, Egypt is not doing that bad. In fact, within Yale, we have finished the political roadmap. The parliament is in Simple, and as such, we have completed the most important institutions as per the constitution. On the independence of the judiciary system, Egypt ranks high on that independence as well. So in these institutions, we're doing well, as well we're doing well in the corporate governance, because we have a good corporate governance law, and the companies listed on the stock market have a good history in governance. On the infrastructure, which is the second pillar, we have also positive in terms of improving dramatically the energy field with the approval of solar and the wind farming projects. So that is positive. We have also improved in the roads as far as transportation and infrastructure. So we have an improvement in that infrastructure. On the macroeconomic environment, we have positive and negative achievements. On the Sharm el-Sheikh conference that was held, we have resulted in around $60 billion in investments and $78 billion in MOUs signed. and grants and loans of 12.5 billion. So that is a positive contribution to the competitiveness. And we need, of course, to do much better in terms of attracting FDIs in the future. Also, on the macroeconomic environment, Egypt's rating on the international market has improved from C to B3 by the rating agencies, which gives satisfactory performance. So, but on that front, the Suez Canal cities that were launched by the central bank was a huge success. So there is a lot of money that is outside the banking system that we need to attract within the banking system to be able to raise our savings rate. So we have to use the strengths of the banking system to be able to improve that ratio. Of course, on the macroeconomics, on the regulatory side, we need to accelerate the structural reform in the country. We need to restructure the government properties, which have not been taken much attention by the previous government. And so a lot has to be done in restructuring the government properties at this point of time. A high percentage of our GDP. Also, privatization needs to be repackaged and politically acceptable to the establishment. On the health and primary education, of course, we're not doing very well. We have to improve a lot on this health, whether for the poor or even for the rich people as well. And so the health is very negative as well for the primary education. On the effectiveness enhancement side index, which speaks verifying the higher education and training, we have private sector higher education that provides good education. We have training, but we need more labor that are below the engineers to be able to perform better on that. On the goods and market efficiency, on the goods and market efficiency, we need to improve our local distribution system. On the positive side, the Prime Minister yesterday or the day before has announced a revamp on the land transportation, and that will reduce the cost a lot in terms of transportation of goods, and will increase our effectiveness on the local distribution and the availability of goods in different parts of the country, as well to reducing the traffic problems that we have. On the financial market development, I think Egypt has a good financial market that is strong. We have most of the companies that are needed on the stock market. So that is a good area for us. On the market side, as Mr. Moro was saying, with 90 billion, that is a good asset that we should use. We have an exceptionally good market size that attracts investment, but we should be able to lead the market in terms of differentiating between what is needed in terms of investments and what is not needed and not very productive in terms of future investments. Overall, I think it's we have also a good thing that was announced yesterday by the President that he will focus more on the SMEs. And this is a very important step for Egypt. And the central bank governor has announced that he will allocate a certain percentage an amount for this SME. So this is positive, but on the details we need to know exactly that these people need to know what could be competitive and not competitive. So when they start a business and then the government decide to do the work for importation, they are not bankrupt. So it's very important. Overall, on the foreign exchange side, we have three major sources, as you all know, the tourism, the Egyptian abroad remittances, and the Suez Canal. So I think if we focus on these three important aspects of foreign exchange trade and make them more competitive and support them in terms of the Suez Canal projects, as they were saying, and in terms of making the tourism more competitive in the
قناة هرم مصر. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم في داخل القمة الرؤساء التنفيذيين الذي تقيم شركة جلوبال تريد. ومعنا من داخل هذا المؤتمر المصرفي والاقتصادي الكبير الأستاذ حسن حسين، وهو رئيس القمة التنفيذي ومن ضمن الراعي الذهبي لهذا المؤتمر، وممثلا ورئيس مجلس إدارة التعمير الأولى للتمويل العقاري. أهلا حضرتك. حسن بيه، معلش احنا اتكلمنا في المؤتمر كان كله بالإنجليزي، فعايزين نوضح احنا النهارده بنتكلم عن قمة الرؤساء التنفيذيين، فبتقول لنا ايه والمؤتمر ده أقيم لأجل ماذا؟
هو المؤتمر أقيم من أجل التنافسية، وهو المعيار المستخدم عالميا لتقدم الدول ومدى منافستنا في الأسواق العالمية. وكان المؤتمر بيراجع الترتيب بتاع مصر في التنافسية اللي هو حاليا 116 من 144 دولة، وده ترتيب متدني للغاية بالنسبة لنا. وكنا بنشوف ايه الحاجات اللي ممكن أدت إلى هذا، وايه الحاجات اللي ممكن يتم إصلاحها بحيث إن الترتيب يتقدم بالتنافسية بصفة عامة، ووضع الدولة يكون أفضل في الأسواق العالمية.
حسن بيه حسين، حضرتك مصرفي كبير واقتصادي له ثقل في السوق، فعايزين حضرتك تقول لنا ما هي المتطلبات الأساسية لتحسين ترتيبنا عالميا، وخاصة حضرتك بتقول إن احنا متأخرين في التصنيف.
احنا تأخرنا في التصنيف لأسباب معينة متعلقة بثورة يناير وبغياب المؤسسات لازم ننفذ. احنا النهارده المؤسسات كلها بقت موجودة، فده هيؤثر إيجابيا على زائد المؤتمر الاقتصادي اللي الحكومة عملته والمواد اللي عنها كاستثمارات وكمعلومات خارجية، ده برضه هيأثر إيجابيا على الحكومة قامت بيها فعليا أثر إيجابيا على وفي حاجات لسه مطلوبة من الحكومة تعملها، بالذات بالنسبة للإصلاحات الهيكلية.
لا المصريين
الشركات المملوكة للحكومة وعدم الاهتمام بها حتى الآن مشكلة الحكومة توصلها بسرعة، لأنها كانت في يوم من الأيام تمثل نسبة كبيرة جدا من الناتج القومي المصري. زائد في حاجات مهمة تمت من ناحية أخرى. مبادرة العالم على السيد الرئيس لصناعة الصناعة المتوسطة، دي مبادرة مهمة جدا وهتمثل طفرة بالنسبة لنا في التنافسية والاقتصاد بصفة عامة. لو حسنوا التنفيذها يعني فمهم جدا ان التفاصيل بتاعتها توضع بدقه وان هو ينظر فيها الى الصناعات الصغيره والمتوسطه دي في صناعات احنا لنا فيها ميزه تنافسيه وليس اي صناعات خلاص، لان احنا عندنا اتفاقيات دوليه زي الجاب وزي الكوميسا وزي الحاجات دي ممكن انها تاثر ايجابيا او سلبيا على الصناعات. لازم صانع القرار يبص بالتفصيل على التفاصيل ديت عشان يخلي الصناعات الصغيره والمتوسطه تستثمر في الحاجات اللي انا فيها دي التنافسيه، مش الحاجات اللي ممكن تضرهم في المستقبل نتيجه ان الحكومه تفتح باب الصيانه او حاجه.
حسن بيه، بعد الروشته الجميله اللي حضرتك قلتها ديت، هل سنرى مصر في تقدم قريب في او مثلا نقول في خلال قد ايه مثلا؟
لا هو متفائلين بالرئيس والانشيتيفز اللي بيطلع بيها سواء الاساتذه او بالنسبه لقناه السويس. هم دول لو حضرتك جوه هتلاقي ان هم دول اللي اخذوا الاهتمام الكبير، لان الحاجتين هم بالنسبه لقناه السويس حاجه مدره للدخل بالنسبه لنا وحاجه عندنا فيها قدره تنافسيه مفيش حد يقدر ينافسنا فيها، والصناعات الصغيره والمتوسطه ربنا يوفق.
بنشكر حضرتك حسن بيه وان شاء الله من تقدم الى تقدم. اعزائي مشاهدي هرم مصر، كان هذا الحوار مع المصرفي والاقتصادي الاستاذ حسن حسين الرئيس التنفيذي لهذا المؤتمر، وهو مؤتمر قمة الرؤساء التنفذيين الذي تقيمه شركة جلوبال تريد، وهو رئيس مجلس إدارة التعمير الأولى للتمويل العقاري. كنت معكم دكتور نبيل هرم مصر، استمتعتم معنا في قمة الرؤساء التنفيذيين الذي تقيمه شركة جلوبال تريد، حيث التنافسية كان هذا الشعار. فإلى أن نلتقي معكم في مؤتمرات أخرى، لكم مني ألف تحية. دكتور